Welcome back to Date Your Donors podcast. We are live at the Armin Hotel in beautiful Stamford, Connecticut. Hot weather, beautiful summer that we're having. This podcast is sponsored by our good friends at J Furniture. That's JEYFurniture.com. They help our Jewish day schools across North America create beautiful, functional spaces that support learning and connection. As a family-run business with decades of experience, Jay understands the unique needs of Jewish institutions and delivers furniture that's as durable as your mission. Visit jfurniture.com, JEYFurniture.com, to learn how they can support your school's next upgrade. All right, I've got with me Rabbi Avigdor Goldberger, who I remember from high school in Nairville in the 90s.
Yep, that was true.
Yes, we do look a little bit different from then.
I didn't go by Avigdor then.
No, you went by Viggy.
I went by Viggy.
Yeah, you were definitely a Viggy.
So the way
Does
it works
anyone
is
call
this.
you Viggy now?
Anybody who knew me as Viggy has the right to call me Viggy.
Is that right?
That's how it goes.
Even though you've gotten smicha since then, you are a professional in a Kollel setting, they
Correct.
still have the permission to call you Viggy.
If you knew me as Viggy, you can call me Viggy.
Okay.
Now, if you didn't know me as Viggy, then...
How dare you?
Exactly. But you've earned the right.
Okay, beautiful. Well, for the sake of the podcast, Rabbi Avigdor Goldberger, it's a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you.
I get to see you once a year now. Is that what it is? EDN? Is it?
For sure EDN, but I feel like there's, I don't know, we cross paths more than that.
Yeah. I know, but definitely online. You are a prolific writer on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I do see you have a lot of smart things to share on
Thank
there.
you.
I do follow
Thank
you there.
Actually, just started on Substack too. That's a little bit more daunting. Substack. It's like that's for people who actually like to think. That's scary.
It's basically more like a kind of a blog. Apologize for my ignorance right now.
Yeah.
Is Substack more of like if they want to follow your content individually, like this is just your thing, or is it seeing you among a lot of other things?
No, there's a lot of others. I mean, you can follow individuals. I don't really know it all that well. I just started, but it's definitely more like heavy thought, and so like if you like thinking, then
so
it's a
it's
good
more
place.
long
but
form,
like long form
as
correct.
opposed to like the sound bites on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
The same way a podcast can be long form versus sound bites.
Correct.
All right. Okay, that's helpful. Okay,
yes.
So you are in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Beautiful Minneapolis. Great weather this time of year.
Yes, this time of year. Stay within a couple months and you're good.
And in the winter, it's 70 indoors.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so how long have you been there? What are you doing? What are you doing there?
So I moved to Minneapolis in 2011
as
a Kollel younger man. That's how we call it in America. In Israel, they call Avrich. But 2011, I moved there. I was in the Kollel for 4 years. After about 4 years, Elio Stern, who actually started the whole EDN, he was the Rosh Kollel there running the business side of things in the Kollel in Minneapolis. After 4 years, he moved on to Lakewood. He called me out of the Beis Medrash one day and said, "Your turn."
He just knighted you right then and there.
Exactly. So, so now I'm running a nonprofit, a small business. We've got a $1.2 million budget, a $5 million real estate portfolio that I run. That's when I don't want to impress people. If I want to impress them, I say I run a Kollel. So I started. I was straight out of Kollel, didn't know anything. I mean, I told Elio Stern at the time, I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. He's like, don't worry about it, you'll figure it out.
Right.
I said, will you pick up the phone if I call? He said, yes. I said, okay, thank you. So, no, he left me in a great place. He really left the organization in a great place. I pretty much followed his lead at the time, and obviously over the years I've put my own spin on things, but I've been doing it for starting 2011 until today, so I've been there.
That's really nice. Actually, I know a little bit of the backstory because when Rabbi Elio Stern was in Minneapolis, he became a student of a guy named Roby Wayne.
Yes. I know Roby, yeah.
You know Roby. So he's not alive anymore, right? He passed away a few years back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was part of kind of like the Gerald Panis school of fundraising.
Yes.
Right. So you really had proper development training.
Yeah, and I was close to the Roby.
Wow.
We'd go over to his house and we'd meet, and
one of our major gift coaches is also in Minneapolis, head of a very large conservative synagogue, and he's also a student of Roby Wayne, the Gerald Panis.
So Roby, if you're listening, this one's for you. Roby, I know you're listening. You're up there somewhere. Your book, Dilly the Dog. Roby wrote a book. I don't know if you know this.
I had no idea.
Roby wrote a kid's book.
Okay.
Called Dilly the Dog.
Okay.
With a D. Dilly the Dog.
Dilly the Dog.
And it's a story of how he stole a dog in Alabama and brought him back to Minnesota. But you have to read the book for the context. But basically, he gave me a copy of the book. It's sitting in my house. And actually, my 2-year-old loves the book, and literally every night I sit down and I read Roby Wayne's kid's book that he wrote to my 2-year-old.
I love it.
To sleep. So, Roby, if you're listening, we read your book every night. We love it. Dilly the Dog.
Amazing. Now that's a shout out.
Just got to do it for Roby. I love the man.
Okay, so there was from Roby Wayne to Rabbi Stern to yourself.
Yes.
You're now the executive director. Is your title?
Menahel, technically.
Okay,
CEO, Menahel, yeah.
CEO and Menahel of the Minneapolis Kollel.
Yes.
And the Rosh Kollel is?
Rabbi Chaim Gibber is leaving now.
Yep.
He was the Rosh Kollel for 25 years. He's still there now, but he's leaving probably the end of
His
El.
twin was my Rosh Yeshiva.
Correct.
In Providence. Rabbi Eliezer Gibber, who also left Providence.
Correct.
I'm beginning to see trends here.
There's a trend, yes. So we have a new Rosh Kollel also, Rabbi Moshe Spyro, who's taking over. And
was Rabbi Spyro also near Yisrael?
No, he's from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, not in Israel.
Very nice. Okay, so that is what you do with your days. But from my understanding, you also moonlight, or you also support Jungelite, people who are in Kollel who are trying to transition out of that setting into the quote-unquote real world.
Correct.
So so tell me a little bit about what the challenges are, the pain point that you see with people who have been learning, career learners, and have done it in a setting of obviously base medrash, they get married, they go to Kollel, and then they realize that they're going to want to put food on their table. I'm sure that's probably one of the impetuses. Is that the reason why they tend to do it, or?
So, I mean, initially everybody has that in mind, but I think it's much deeper than that. I don't think it's simply about putting food on the table. I think it's about who you are as a person, defining yourself. What are you living for? What are you all about? Self-definition, self-esteem, self-worth. I mean, it's bigger than just earning a living.
Yeah.
But, I mean, guys are in Kollel for a while, and then they leave Kollel. You know, if you go to the secular world, so you go to college, you know, sometime when you're point in college, you figure out what your career path is going to be, and there's a transition, you know, that you're working towards, working for your degree, you go to your master's or whatever it is, and you kind of know where you're going career-wise. There's a path. Guys in Kollel, there is no path. You're in Kollel, you're learning, and then all of a sudden, you have that conversation with your Rebbe, you know, should I move on? Should I stay in learning? And at some point, the answer is, go get a job. And by the way, it's not specific to jobs, it could be jobs in Klei Kodesh too, it could be jobs in teaching in Rebbeim, or, you know, but the time comes where everybody says, okay, now go get a job. Right? And that's kind of where the Rebbe's guidance usually ends, because the Rebbe knows get a job, but what job?
Or the Rebbe, that's where his arm length is.
Correct. And then the guy's got to find a job. Okay, so what do? You go to a place like, you know, I don't want to name names, but there's different organizations that help people, you know, with placement, job placement. And job placement is wonderful if you know what kind of job you're looking for.
Right.
But if you don't know what kind of job you're looking for, it's like, I need a job. Doing what? I don't know. What have you done? Learned.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So there's no thought process necessarily about what your grander vision is for your own life. Like you would say, in 75 years from now, when you're all said and done, like, what are you going to say? This is what I. This is what I did. Correct.
And so some guys, the notion as well, it's something. You know, it's like guys look for jobs looking for a dentist. Like, I need one. I know I need it. I'm not excited about it.
Right.
They have to find something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, first of all, if you look for a job like that, you'll end up finding. Yeah, you'll find something.
Right.
You'll find. First of all, good luck going to try to find a job when you're not excited and confident about the thing that is that you're going to do.
Right.
Who's going to want to hire you?
Right. They're going to sense that mediocrity, that kind of lack of luster.
And then what ends up happening is guys find jobs because, well, somebody else did this and it worked for them, or my neighbor has a company, or my brother-in-law this. People are very into bitachon. People are very into Chovos Halvavos these days, right? The Chovos Halvavos actually writes about this, and people don't know the Shar Bitachon. Everybody doesn't Shar Bitachon, right?
Yeah.
He writes. He says every industry has aniyas and ashiras. Look it up.
There are people who succeed and people who don't.
So to pick a job based on what you think is going to make aniyas is foolish. So he says, so what job should you pick?
Right.
You got to pick something.
Right.
So he says, pick something that fits your talents and your characters, your personality. That's what he says.
Right. Lean into the things that you're good at.
Right. So figure out who you are. Now, the challenge, particularly now, the other challenge of being in Kollel, besides the fact that you don't have a path, is that Kollel tends to lend itself for uniformity, for homogeneity.
Right.
In the Beis Medrash, everybody's the same.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So good luck trying to figure out what your specific path should be if you don't even know your uniqueness.
Right. You were never challenged to say what makes you special.
We know how to rank people. We know who the top guy is, the second guy is, the third guy.
Yeah.
Rankings we know. Like, but why are you? I asked this question to those guys in the Kollel. Like, why are you different from everybody else in your chabura?
Right.
And they often can't answer the question.
Right.
And it's not because they're not smart.
It actually makes me kind of sad.
But they haven't thought about it.
Right.
They haven't thought about it. So So what I do is I have a program. I have a push for this. It's not something I just but again, I had the privilege of being raised out of town. I had the privilege of being raised in Atlanta, Georgia, as a yachid. Like I was myself. I was not raised as part of the group. I was Biggie. Then I went and joined the world, and in Israel and in Philly and whatever. At Lakewood, I was very much a part of the system, but I was myself before I was part of the system.
That resonates as another out-of-towner, the idea that you kind of
now, sometimes you have to stand out from the system.
I'm king
you're
of
that guy. But my point is, even if you're not going to stand out, right, if you at least know who you are as an individual, then you can go to the system. So when it comes to finding a job, what your characters are, what are you going to be good at, people just don't know. People just don't know. So that's what I love doing. I love sitting down with guys. I mean, I can give you examples. I was recently met with a guy. He actually knew the company he was going to work for. His father had a company. His father wanted to hire
family
him.
business.
Family business. But what role? What role am I going to play in the business? So this guy, young guy, ambitious, he wanted to do well. And he lived in the tri-state area, and he had this idea of the hustler, the hustler, the sales guy who goes out and I started asking him, like, we have a process, but I started asking him, like, how do you see yourself in your business environment? He says, I'm going to hustle and this and that. And he developed this whole, New York hustler mentality of like, how he's going to crush it in business and crush the competition. And then I kind of shared with him, I said, that's not really who you are. You're much more of like a customer service guy. You're much more of like naturally just want to help people.
Right.
You're not competitive by nature.
Right.
You're not a fighter.
Right.
You're much more of a, and we showed through testing and through the methods we have, and he just relaxed. Like I saw him like just
right.
And then I shared with him.
He was stressed out and didn't even probably realize why he was getting stressed.
And I said, by the way, do you know that you can be very successful in business by having great customer service?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be a cutthroat, hard-nosed hustler in order to make it.
Yeah.
Now, and he just you saw all the stress just kind of.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, he was convinced that this is how he had to be successful.
By the way, thank God he had that conversation with you at that point.
Correct.
Because I know so many people who go down the path 5, 6 years later, 7 years later, completely stressed out. Their boss is not happy. They're not happy. Their wife's not happy. They're never home. They did that, the other.
Correct. And their self-esteem is totally shot by that.
Right.
I think most people at the end of the day will probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is I can save you 4 to 5 years of absolute heartache, soul-crushing, just beaten down. There's a great quote from Mark Twain.
Okay.
Where he says, if a fish judged itself based on its ability to fly, it grew up its whole life thinking it was stupid.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
You're not a bird, you're a fish. You're great at swimming. You're not great at flying. Just understand that.
Yeah, there's another one I read from Sir. I saw on it might have been the TED Talk with Sir Ken Robinson.
Yeah,
and he was talking about how a girl was like really failing in school, and they brought just ADHD through the ceiling. The kid could not succeed in a number of settings, and they brought this child to, I don't know if it was to Ken or to another therapist, and sitting in there, he puts on the music, and the girl starts like twirling around the room, and he said to the parents, you don't have a girl with ADHD, you have a dancer. Right? Like that's what you have. You have a dancer.
Exactly.
So they sent her to dance school, and she then becoming a major teacher with her own dance studio in New York, and became one of the biggest famous studios because someone recognized at a young age that she wasn't dumb, she wasn't stupid, she was a dancer, and she just wasn't given the recognition of what her is. So if she's a fish, she should be swimming.
Right, exactly. And that's what I love. I love giving people a vehicle. One thing that I love the Yeshiva world, and I come from there. One thing that I wish we saw more of was there's a lot of Gedolim also. We value Gedolim, we recognize Gedolim. Reb Chaim Kanievsky wasn't Reb Chaim Ozer, and Reb Chaim Ozer wasn't the Chazon Ish. Like, they're different personalities, and there's many different ways to be a Gadol, there's many different ways to be great, and we have she'ifas. Everybody wants to be great, and that's a wonderful thing.
Right.
There's one line that I love saying over, and if there's one thing that I could share, I would love to share this with people.
Yeah.
The Chavetz Chaim says, the beautiful Chavetz Chaim, Klal Yisrael is compared to the stars in the sky and the sand on the sea, sand on the seashore. He says, what are the two things? He says, when you look at sand on a seashore, each grain of sand is tiny.
Right.
It's a nothing, but collectively, it can hold back the sea.
Right.
Stars are massive, but each one exists in its own galaxy.
Right.
They don't exist in the same space as anything else.
Right.
So he says we can either be small grains of sand in one seashore, or we can be massive stars in our own galaxies. What we can't be is massive stars, all on the same seashore.
On the same seashore.
That doesn't work.
Right.
So, we can be both. In other words, when it comes to your external, the way you present in the Kollel, and the way you work for everybody else, be a grain of sand. Play your role, do your thing. You don't have to be massive.
Yeah.
You want to be massive in your own arena.
Right.
Be massive in your own world. Find your world, find your lane, find your thing, and you are better than everybody else in that regard.
Yeah.
Find that thing. That's what I try to do with guys.
That is amazing.
That's what I try to
a
do.
Great way to put it.
Yeah.
Because there's always that challenge of like, okay, well, you have to, especially in the Jewish world, we have to operate in a community. You cannot be a yachid, right? To succeed, you have to be a team player. We're just so intertwined with everything that we do, and you have to learn how to be part of the Kollel. You have to learn, because you first of all, you can't get everything the way you want it. It has to be, there's concession, there's pshara, you have to do that. At the same time, where do you fit in as an individual? And the answer is you can have both. Right. You can succeed in an arena that no one else succeeds in. That this is your thing, that you have ownership on, and people know it's your brand, right? But you still have to operate, even with that brand and everything you're doing, within the Kollel.
I want to tell you the single biggest thing that is going to impact this, though. I know we're at a conference of people that run Meistis and people that run schools.
A lot of Jewish administrators here,
and
administrators.
The institutions are wonderful.
Yeah,
they really are. I heard a line from an elephant once, Rabbi Elephant from the Mir.
Okay.
He said one of the biggest challenges he faces Klal Yisrael is that the Meistis raise the kids, not the parents.
Yes.
And he says this is not an indictment on the Meistis. The Meistis are wonderful, and they're great, and they're excellent. But at the end of the day, there's something only a parent can do.
You were speaking music to my ears. It's always been a challenge where parents will offload any kind of parental education and responsibility on the school and say they know best. I'm like, that's correct. You are the parent.
And the fact that parents feel comfortable doing that is a testament to the schools. In other words, it's great. Like,
there's a trust factor.
Right. Look, when I was raised, it was obvious my parents were going to raise me because the school was not nearly. I grew up in Atlanta. Like, it was just not. Back then, it wasn't. So it was obvious my parents were going to raise me. When you live in an environment where the Meistis are great and they have standards and the schools are great, a parent can forget that they raise their kids. So what's wrong with just the Meistis raising the kids? Meistis are great at giving a group identity.
Yes.
That's what they're built to do.
The group identity, right.
So, and we have a great group identity. But what a Meistis can't do is give individuals an individual identity.
Yep.
Your Rebbe changes every year. There's 30 kids in the class. Even the best Rebbe in the world properly give an individual kid his own personality.
If you're operating in an industrial model where there's a factory setting,
correct.
Then of course you're going to look a certain way and act a certain way.
And by the way, we need schools and we need communal institutions,
yes.
And we're doing that right. This is not me telling.
It's not an indictment on what that is.
And this is not me changing. We have to change the system.
Right.
We don't have to change the system. The system works. But kids need parents too. Kids need parents.
Yes.
And it's again. I'm an out-of-towner. I have the Yachid mentality. This is something that I care about passionately. It's something that I see.
Also, look, being an out-of-towner, you're also used to understanding the importance of community, because you kind of takes a village to do anything when you're out of town. You don't get to say I only have to talk to the 8 people who live in my apartment complex. You really are part of a larger thing. So we do have, I think, to speak for us out-of-towners, I think we've got a good thing going.
I will tell you something interesting. So I recruit guys in Lakewood. I mean, that's part of what I do. I go to Lakewood to bring them to the Kollel, to join the Kollel. So besides for consulting, part of my main job,
your day job.
My day job is that I recruit guys. So I go to Lakewood all the time, and I'm talking to guys, and I'm recruiting them to come out of town. So, maybe 30 years ago, the pitch was, spread terror in America, and you can build up communities, and that was like a wonderful pitch that spoke to people. That's not what speaks to guys today. What speaks to guys today is that which we're talking about now. Find you. Like, right now, your group identity.
Right.
But who are you?
Right.
Who are you as a yachid? And it resonates.
Oh, yeah.
Like people,
because that's a human condition.
Correct.
Right. It's forget whether it's yeshiva, modern Orthodox community, secular. Everyone on the basic level, on a human level, wants to say, what's going to be my mark? Am I going to play a role where it comes natural? It's organic. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like I'm being kind of like a square peg pushed into a round hole. That's a human thing.
Yeah. Find your star.
Beautiful. Amazing. Rabbi Avigdor Goldberger. Viggy Goldberger.
You can call me that.
Yeah, I'm allowed.
You're allowed.
I'm allowed. Pleasure seeing you. Thank you for coming again to EDN. Bring your wisdom.
Of course.
And for onwards and upwards.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Be well.